Hello fellow gardeners. Welcome back to Smart Garden, where we're always finding innovative ways to make your gardening journey more productive and rewarding. If you've been watching our channel, you know we're all about maximizing space and getting the most out of every square inch of your garden. Today I'm genuinely excited to share something that's going to transform the way you think about those fences standing around your property. Are you tired of running out of garden space, or struggling with unproductive patches that just don't seem to deliver the harvest you're dreaming of? What if I told you that your fence could become a vertical food factory, producing an abundance of fresh vegetables throughout the growing season? In this guide, I'll reveal 8 incredible vegetables that thrive when grown on fences, transforming unused vertical space into a bountiful harvest you won't believe is possible. Whether you're working with a tiny urban yard or simply want to make better use of existing structures, this approach is going to revolutionize your gardening game. Let's start with one of the most rewarding fence vegetables you can grow: cucumbers. These natural climbers are absolutely made for vertical gardening, using their delicate tendrils to grab onto any support structure you provide. When you plant vining cucumber varieties at the base of your fence, something magical happens. Initially, you'll want to guide those tender young vines toward your support structure. But once they get going, the tendrils will naturally wrap around the fencing material and climb upward with remarkable enthusiasm. The transformation you'll see in your cucumber harvest when growing vertically is nothing short of spectacular. By keeping the fruits suspended off the ground, you're dramatically reducing the risk of fruit rot that plagues ground-level cucumbers sitting in damp soil. Even more importantly, you're preventing fungal diseases like powdery mildew, which thrives in the humid conditions created when cucumber leaves rest on moist ground. Your cucumbers will grow straighter, cleaner, and more uniform, and harvesting becomes an absolute pleasure when you can simply walk along the fence line and pluck perfect cukes at eye level. The improved air circulation around the leaves means healthier plants that produce prolifically throughout the season. Moving on to pole beans, these remarkable legumes are quintessential vertical garden candidates that offer benefits beyond just their delicious pods. Unlike their bush bean cousins that sprawl across garden beds, pole beans send up tall, rambling vines that can easily reach 6 to 8 feet or higher. Installing wire mesh or sturdy netting against your fence creates the perfect framework for these vigorous climbers. When planting, space your seeds about 6 to 8 inches apart along the fence line, ensuring adequate airflow between plants to minimize disease pressure. Bostan installum turiden stickpon sampurid. The beauty of growing pole beans vertically extends far beyond space efficiency. These plants are actually improving your soil while they grow, fixing atmospheric nitrogen through their root nodules and making it available for future crops. The vertical orientation means you can harvest significantly more beans from the same square footage compared to bush varieties planted at ground level. Additionally, bean beetles and other pests are easier to spot and manage when the plants are growing upward rather than in a tangled ground-level mass. Your back will thank you too, as harvesting becomes a simple matter of walking the fence line rather than bending and searching through dense foliage. The continuous harvest from pole beans means you'll be picking fresh, tender pods for weeks longer than bush varieties would provide. Peas are another fantastic fence crop, particularly valuable for extending your growing season into the cooler months. Both snap peas and snow peas produce delicate tendrils that eagerly latch onto support structures, pulling themselves upward toward the sun. For optimal results, use fine wire mesh or trellis netting with openings no larger than 1 inch square. The peas' tendrils are more delicate than those of beans or cucumbers, so they need a finer grid to grab onto effectively. Growing peas vertically on your fence transforms them from muddy, ground-hugging plants into pristine, easy-to-harvest producers. The pods stay remarkably clean, eliminating the frustration of washing soil and debris from your harvest. More importantly, vertical growing improves pod development and makes it exponentially easier to spot when peas are ready for picking. You'll find yourself harvesting at the perfect moment rather than discovering overripe pods hidden beneath ground-level foliage. The improved air circulation also reduces the incidence of powdery mildew, a common problem for peas in humid conditions. Plant peas in early spring or late summer for fall harvest, and your fence will be covered with productive vines during seasons when most gardens are relatively quiet. Indeterminate tomato varieties are perhaps the most rewarding vegetables to grow vertically on fences, though they require a more hands-on approach than true climbing vegetables. Unlike the self-supporting determinate bush tomatoes, indeterminate varieties continue growing and producing throughout the season, potentially reaching heights of 8 feet or more. These vigorous plants need substantial support, so create a robust framework using heavy-duty wire, sturdy twine, or cattle panel fencing. The key to success with fence-grown tomatoes is consistent training. As your plants grow, you'll need to actively tie the main stem to your support structure every foot or so, gently guiding the plant upward. This regular attention pays enormous dividends in plant health and productivity. Vertical tomatoes receive superior sun exposure on all sides of the plant, leading to better fruit development and more even ripening. Equally important, keeping tomatoes off the ground prevents the spread of soil-borne diseases like early blight and septoria leaf spot, which can devastate ground-level plants through rain splash. Harvesting becomes a joy when clusters of tomatoes hang at various heights along your fence, and you can easily inspect plants for pests or disease issues. The improved air circulation around leaves and stems means healthier plants that produce longer into the season. Many gardeners assume winter squash must sprawl across large garden beds, but numerous varieties, including smaller butternuts and delicata squash, can be trained to climb strong vertical supports. This approach requires some planning and sturdy infrastructure, but the space savings and plant health benefits are remarkable. Plant your squash at the base of cattle panel fencing or heavy-gauge wire mesh that can support substantial weight. While squash vines will climb enthusiastically once established, the fruits themselves need additional support as they develop. This is where creativity comes in. You can fashion simple slings or hammocks from old pantyhose, mesh produce bags, or even netting to cradle developing squash and distribute their weight across the fence structure. This little trick prevents fruits from snapping off the vine prematurely, and it also ensures they develop uniformly without those flat spots you sometimes get when they rest on the ground. Growing squash vertically dramatically improves airflow around the massive leaves, making it far easier to spot and remove destructive pests like squash vine borers and squash bugs before they cause any serious damage. The fruits stay cleaner and are less prone to rot. And honestly, you'll be amazed at how much space you save compared to traditional sprawling cultivation methods. Bitter melon, though less common in Western gardens, is a vigorous climber that just thrives on fence structures. These long trailing vines produce distinctive warty fruits that are prized in Asian cuisine for their unique flavor and health benefits. The tendrils latch readily onto wire fencing, though a bit of early guidance helps establish good climbing habits. Pinching off lower branches concentrates the plant's energy into the upper fruit-producing areas, resulting in straighter, cleaner fruits that are simple to harvest. Ornamental and edible gourds offer similar benefits, with fast-growing vines and strong tendrils that climb with minimal intervention. Like winter squash, heavier gourd varieties benefit from support slings as fruits mature. Growing gourds vertically ensures uniform fruit shape by preventing the flat spots that develop when fruits rest on the ground, which is particularly important if you're growing gourds for crafts or decoration. Perhaps most surprising is that even zucchini, typically a sprawling bush plant, can be trained vertically with appropriate support and pruning. Plant seedlings near sturdy stakes or fence posts, then tie the main stem to supports as it grows. Regular pruning of lower leaves improves airflow and directs energy toward fruit production. While this requires more active management than traditional bush zucchini cultivation, the space savings and improved air circulation make it worthwhile for gardeners with limited space. Your zucchini will stay remarkably clean, and the improved growing conditions often mean reduced pest pressure and disease issues. The foundation of successful fence gardening begins with choosing appropriate support structures. Chain-link fences work wonderfully for most climbing vegetables, providing built-in grid patterns for tendrils to grab. Wooden privacy fences require adding wire mesh, cattle panels, or string trellising to create climbing opportunities. Whatever your fence type, make sure it receives adequate sunlight. Most fruiting vegetables need at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sun each day for optimal production. Soil preparation at the fence base is, honestly, crucial. Amend the planting area with generous quantities of compost to ensure good drainage and fertility. Vertical vegetables often have restricted root zones compared to sprawling ground-level plants, so nutrient-dense soil is essential. You might want to consider installing drip irrigation or soaker hoses along the fence line, since vertical gardens can dry out more quickly than traditional beds, and consistent moisture is critical for preventing issues like blossom end rot in tomatoes or bitter flavor in cucumbers. If you found this guide valuable and you're excited to transform your fence into a productive vertical garden, I'd love for you to subscribe to Smart Garden and hit that notification bell so you never miss our practical gardening content. Share this video with fellow gardeners who are looking to maximize their space, and drop a comment below telling me which of these 8 vegetables you're most excited to try on your fence. Let's grow together and make every inch of our gardens count. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.